So, Professor, are there any principles that we can start implementing immediately to improve upon our levels of cohesiveness?
Yes, there certainly are. I like to refer to them as life hacks. Firstly, use we instead of I. It sounds simple, but it makes a whole lot of difference. When you replace I and you with we, you replace a personal announcement, affirmation, or agreement with a collective. Since cohesion is a multidimensional aspect, it works best if planted with the seeds. These small aspects of communication give an underlying expression of collectiveness, collaboration, team identity, and trust. So, instead of saying, "What do I have to work on today?" go for a more collaborative question such as, "What are we working on today?" This will not just help you avoid awkwardness and confusion but will also help in the initiation of further inputs of collective nature. Judgments are okay. People are so diverse. Literally no one is exactly like the other. How often life makes us assert this to ourselves. We often use it to convince ourselves, especially in response to a disagreement or misalignment of thoughts. But this diversity, difference or variety can be used to one's advantage through adequate estimations. However, this is not as easy as it sounds. Behavioral understanding or estimation can significantly help in making strong and healthy professional relationships. It also helps in smooth operations and fewer conflicts as teammates face lesser personality clashes. It all, evidently, changes from person to person and situation to situation. One is, therefore, expected to have good behavior reading abilities. There are not any designated rules for it, but here are some tips. Challenge a collaborative person, not a confident one. Some people have excessive self-esteem, and challenging them may backfire. On the contrary, those of collaborative nature take challenges delightfully and tend to make more efforts. Not everyone is a team player. Introvert personalities may not immediately respond or approach. There is no harm if you take the initiative. A little, "If you need any help, I am at my desk," or even a lively "good day," can set the comfort grounds. Do not compare yourself with others. Being competitive is a great quality. It often motivates us to perform better. However, a person of such nature often tends to keep a competitive outlook towards occasions that do not call for it. This means that the person constantly tends to compare their progress with that of their peers. This can have adverse effects on one's mental health and productivity in general. Each person has their own pace, abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. They all cannot, at any point, have definite measurements of highs and lows. Track your triggers. Identifying what triggers a comparison is a vital tool in transforming it into a constructive and productive plan. To do that, rewind your process of comparing yourself with your colleague till you reach the beginning. Was it a work email? Did your boss appreciate them and not you? By doing this, you will break down the mountain of thoughts to a single, smaller unit, which can be clearly and easily processed. Shift from reactive rumination to purposeful reframing. Now that you have identified the triggers, think on how they can be processed. A complete rebuttal of the situation is not a solution. It may re-trigger the entire process. To be able to handle that trigger, one should engage with it as much as possible. Running away is not an option. It is only when you enter the battlefield that you can think of winning. Whenever the trigger situation arises, say your boss praises your colleague again and the urge of self-comparison is on the brim, step out of the situation and analyze it. Not that taking a break is bad. But analyzing and learning are more sustainable options. Exhibit a personal strength to regain validation and momentum. Underestimation of one's strengths is what causes insecurities. So, to resolve that, one cannot seek a solution externally. One would have to seek it internally to analyze their thought process and practice a low-paced detachment. This sounds difficult but is super effective and also super fun. Here are the 2 ways that will help you detach yourself from insecurities and work on your strengths. Celebrate small wins. All wins are wins. Just as we learned that a lack of external recognition can lead to demotivation, the same implies when you do not recognize yourself. By not congratulating yourself on small wins, you signal your brain that you are not progressing. In most cases, insecurity is backed by this sense of non-accomplishment that, truly speaking, we imply ourselves. Focus on your strengths. If things go wrong, it gets difficult to resist underestimating one's own capabilities. It is human nature to regret everything that does not go well, despite a certain level of control on the situation. To understand that, one must think of all the external factors that play a role in the situation. There exist uncertainties and speculations that are not always in our control. In that case, the best way out is to focus on your strengths. This way, you will not give your brain enough time to dwell on the process of underestimating yourself. If you think you are good at painting, paint. If you love writing, write something and read it aloud. Be proud of yourself. Team traditions. This is one of the easiest ones to adopt. Cohesion, as we have already discussed, finds its origin in human nature. Team traditions do not just ensure the development of a sense of collectiveness, it also gives a chance for the team members to know each other and develop strong professional bonds based on personal interests. It can also be used effectively to boost the team's morale. An assured team outing at the end of the month or a regular tradition of greeting everyone in the morning can help in strengthening cohesiveness. Finally, effective e-correspondence. We discussed the topic of communication and realized that it plays a significant role in effective decision-making, operations, and healthy relationships. Something to be noted here is that it does not just apply to vocal communications but also to correspondence. Do not reply to all unless specifically directed to do so. Replying to all means that each person who has received the mail will give a response. Some mails only require you to acknowledge the information, and that is not something everyone needs to know. Also, in some cases, everyone could be required to speak for themselves only. In situations that are not up for discussion, avoid replying all. Always CC the appropriate team or employees when working on a project. Make sure you do not miss out anyone. By CCing the adequate team members, you ensure that the relevant people have received the information. Include questions in subject lines. Workplace mailbox can get a bit messy. A clear subject line will help your colleagues navigate your mails easily.
The final question for this course on cohesion is as follows.